Hello, and welcome to the Encore Research Group podcast, where we encourage community research and education with weekly podcasts. I'm your host, Benton Loeyball, and this week we're talking about the foundational document for ethics in clinical research, the Declaration of Helsinki. R.E.S.P.E.C.T. in research. In 1945 and 1946, after the conclusion of the Second World War, several Nazi German leaders and doctors stood trial for crimes against humanity, war crimes, and other atrocious crimes. One of the trials, the so-called Doctors' Trial, or USA v. Karl Brand et al., helped shape how we view and perform clinical research today. One of the major defenses in the Doctors' Trial was a lack of international law or agreement against the horrible activities the Nazis were doing. To remedy this, the trial ruling, in which 7 defendants were sentenced to death, gave an outline of permissible medical experiments. This was called the Nuremberg Code and was later expanded by the World Medical Association into the Declaration of Helsinki. The Declaration of Helsinki, originally released in 1964, is the cornerstone of modern clinical research. The medical atrocities during the Holocaust showed that the unsaid rules of medicine needed to be said, printed, and widely distributed. The World Medical Association's original Declaration of Helsinki has been revised 7 times and has since grown by 300%. It concerns the ethical treatment of human participants in medical research. The foundational notions of the Declaration of Helsinki rest on the following 2 ideas: that the health of my patient will be my first consideration, and a physician shall act in the patient's best interest when providing medical care. The fact that these were up for debate is wild to me, but thanks to the Declaration of Helsinki, these are now universal statements. The rest of the Declaration of Helsinki has similar, this should be obvious, content, but has been critical for ensuring the safe and ethical treatment of people in research. The document first states that human medicine must be tried in humans at some point. There are also stipulations about what must happen before a study can begin. A protocol must be written that outlines the entire study, and an independent review board, or IRB, must approve the protocol and any changes. Funding and results should be transparent and public. The document also outlines in broad terms how to do this with respect, beneficence, and justice. Respect comes from the assertion that individual people matter more than new knowledge. This is how we get concepts like informed consent, that all trial participants must have full knowledge of what they're getting into before signing up. Respect also states that patients must voluntarily sign up and be able to discontinue at any time. Further, special protections must be in place for vulnerable populations like children, prisoners, and people with mental disabilities. Beneficence is the concept of weighing benefits against risks. In medical research, the benefits must always outweigh the risks. Benefits must help the individual person, a population, or society. Risks must be minimized wherever possible. This is one reason you often see a long list of things that can exclude a person, like being pregnant, from a study, to minimize risks. Beneficence also mandates that studies must be stopped if the risks become too high, if an unintended side effect emerges, for instance. Justice is the concept that research should be for the benefit of everyone. Medications that would target a specific population should be researched in that population. If left-handed people made up 90% of smokers, for instance, then smoking cessation studies should aim to enroll mostly left-handed people. Justice also means that groups should be fairly selected, and that studies should help the people who live where the studies take place. You shouldn't test a pants-lengthening drug on people in Bermuda for their Bermuda shorts, and then refuse to sell it to them. Altogether, these seem like common-sense rules to have in place, but they need to be written. The Nazis claimed the ends justified the means, even though their goals were abhorrent. In this world, however, there are no ends. There are only means. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. If you'd like to know more, all of our sources are linked in the podcast description. You can also visit our website at encoredocs.com. That's ENCOREDOCS.com. Encore Research Group has been involved in clinical research for over 25 years. We have 7 clinical research sites across Florida, including 2 Phase 1 units. If you're in Florida, join us at sites in Northeast Florida and on the Nature Coast. If you're outside of Florida or South Georgia and are interested in joining a clinical trial, head over to clinicaltrials.gov. For more great content, including discussions by physicians and clinical research experts, check out the MedEvidence podcast. My name is Benton. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week.